Michael Calleja. And I hype up, baby.
Thank you. All right, awesome. Thank you. Well, are you guys having fun so far? Yeah, I'm glad. You guys a lot of good information. I think that sometimes coming to see, because when you're sitting in an audience like this for so long, kind of feels like, man, there's just a lot of information to take in. But you'll be surprised. Like, you'll connect with some speakers more than you'll connect with others. And I think that's why we have such like a variety of different speakers. So if you don't resonate with everyone, that's okay. But there's going to be something before you leave here today that you're going to really take with you. And it could be probably the thing that makes the shift completely. So I'm going to talk about taking charge and stepping up in your business. And this is really important because I've noticed something something in common with a lot of the leaders. A lot of them are independent. They start taking responsibility for the things that happen. So if you guys look, I think it's very important to step up eventually. Now, when I got involved in this business early on, I told you guys my story yesterday. My first year, it didn't go very well. But I think that was a good thing. It was a learning experience. And there were a lot of times where somebody could have just bailed me out and started doing it for me, etc. But it's like me having to figure it out. I think that was probably the best thing that could have happened to me, my upline not bailing me out of these issues. I'll give you guys one quick story, okay, before I get into my training. I've told it a couple of times. I don't want anybody to like feel sad about it. It's not like a downer, but it's a very, very humbling experience that happened to me in my USANA business. So as I was building my business, what ended up happening is there's going to come some times where money's probably not going to be flowing in consistently. Now, if that's happening for you right now, then this is that moment. And for me, it was when I was building my business. I was a total flamingo in USANA. Now, if you guys have ever seen a flamingo, it's like one leg is developed, but the other leg isn't developed, right? And I know that Paul just talked about the binary where you need both legs to work. So imagine like you're working really hard, right? You're sponsoring people, you're doing all of this, and finally like you have a rock star in your business, somebody who's really taking it serious, and you're just like, finally, like I'm done, I made it, and you're still not getting paid, right? Because it's just that one leg starts growing, but you still need that other leg, okay? So you're not really making anything yet, and that's what happened. So I was putting a lot of time, energy, and money into one particular leg, which was growing, but my other leg wasn't growing. So what do? All right, now the situation for me was that this leg was actually in Northern California. So imagine Northern California, Southern California. It's about a 400-mile drive. And I couldn't really make it work where I could spend time at my job and spend time with my team at the same time. So I had to make a tough decision. I had to start taking time off of work. And my boss didn't like it too much, but it was something that I had to do. So maybe sometimes you guys are going to run into situations like that where you have to take time off, personal days, whatever it is. You're going to have to figure it out. I can't tell you what to do exactly because everyone's journey is different. But while I was up in Northern California, like I was really devastated because I wasn't having checks come in from USANA. And if they were, there was like $100 here, like $200 there. Like it wasn't anything really substantial to make ends meet. So my account started going really low. And eventually, like I went to withdraw money one day, and I noticed that it said 400 and something. I'm like, I don't have $400 in there. And I looked closely, and there was a little negative in front of it. Have you guys ever had that happen? Hopefully not. Okay, so I had overdrawn my account, and I was just like, I was like, I hit rock bottom, and I was like, man, what the heck am I gonna do? So I called my upline, and I'm all like, hey, I need some help. I was just like, my upline was pretty successful, I think he was like an emerald at the time. And I'm like, I need some help. I was like, can you bail me out? I don't have any money. I have no gas in my car. I have like literally like $5 to my name here. I was like, can you help me out? And he goes, yeah, I'll help you. What do you need? I'm like, well, just, can you give me any advice or something? He goes, yeah, for sure. Here's the advice. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I was like, cool, thanks. And he goes, yeah, you got this, bro. And then he hung up. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I kid you not, I got off the phone. I was cussing him out. I was so upset. I was really pissed off because I was hoping he was going to say, here's $20. That's what I was really hoping for, okay? But the advice that he gave me, I remember I was so upset. And I'm like, okay, what do I do here? So I thought about calling my parents for help, but I already knew what to expect, right? Like if you call your parents and ask them for help, they're going to say, te dije, or, in English, it's like, I told you, you're dumb, quit that thing, come home, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I'm not going to have that. And I didn't know who else to turn to. So at that moment, you have to get creative, right? So I took the $5 that I had, and I went to the 99-cent store. And they had this little deal where you buy 3 Kit Kat bars, the king-size Kit Kat bars, for $1. I kid you not, I was in my suit. When I first started USANA, I would always wear my suit. Like if we were going to the beach, I was in my suit. If we were going like anywhere, I'd wear my suit. Because they said, be prepared for an opportunity, even if you don't have one. Because if you have an opportunity and you're not prepared, you're not going to make it, right? So I was always dressed up. So I was wearing my suit. I bought 15 Kit Kat bars. I stood outside, and I sold them, okay? I sold them each for $1 a piece. And once I got the $15, I went back, bought more Kit Kat bars, and I kept doing that until I had enough money to put gas in my car and continue building my business. And I can remember at that moment, like I thought, if this doesn't take me down, like nothing's gonna take me down. So it was that life lesson, okay? It was that like using your ingenuity. And I'm not telling you guys to start selling Kit Kat bars or anything like that, but it's that moment that you have where you feel like, I have to figure, like there's no one to turn to, okay? And that's what this training is about, all right? So I wanna make sure the first thing you guys understand is that the first step in getting somewhere is to decide that you're not gonna stay where you're at right now. And I think that was it. Like I was like, I'm sick and tired of being broke. I'm sick and tired of being in these situations. Like I really, really have to move forward. Now I could have blamed a lot of different things. And this is what I was doing initially. When I wasn't succeeding in USANA, I'll tell you guys, because people always ask, what's the turning point? Like there's a turning point in this business. It happens. And I'm sure if you talk to anybody who's like really, really reaching high levels of success, you ask them, so when did it happen for you? Like when did you finally realize what it was and then you solved it and whatever it was, right? I think this is it. When you stop blaming things, you start accepting responsibility. So here's what I used to blame. I used to blame my team. That was a common theme for me. I used to say, I just don't have good people. If I only had this dude in my business, if I only had this girl in my business, life would be great. So I'd always blame my team. I'm signing up dummies. I used to think that, you know? Like I'm signing up people who are lazy. I'm signing up people, anyways, saying a lot of stuff like that. Or it's customers. I would say, oh, the products are too expensive. You know, it's like, who can afford $120 for vitamins? You know, I used to say things like this. Or the company. You know, I'd say, well, you know, it's because USANA's not established yet. Nobody knows it. It's network marketing. That's why, right? Or my family. You know, my family's not being supportive. Or the economy. Or my leader. That was a big one, too. I would say, you know, I signed up under this guy. If I would have signed up under this person, oh, dude, I would be successful already. See, that guy, he does everything for his team. My upline, you know, I used to do stuff like that. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that before, okay? But you start looking at, like, you have, like, upline envy. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, man, look, it looks nice to be under him. Or it looks nice to be under her. Like, if you're having that, believe it or not, that's holding you back. That could be it for you. That's what's holding you back from really making a change in this business. Because I guarantee you, it's not your upline. Maybe your upline might get you out of a little funk or here or not, right? But if you're really going to go the distance, your upline's not going to take you there. You're going to take yourself there. That's the truth, okay? Nobody's going to take you to 3-star. You're going to get yourself there. You and your team are going to do it together, okay, or the products. So here's the answer. We must take 100% responsibility for all the good things and all the bad things that happen to you. If you can do that, things are going to change. You're going to feel this amazing sense of power. Now, it's scary, right? It's scary to accept responsibility or assume responsibility. It's easier just to say, hey, I hope Jordan puts on some good events, you know? Or I hope Jay does a good health and freedom today because, you know, yesterday he was like 99%. If he was 100, maybe my guest would have signed up. You know, it's like saying things like that, that's, believe it or not, that's holding you back. And I hope that that's really sinking in. Because as an upline to a lot of people in network marketing, believe it or not, I can't take credit for the success of the people in my team. Everyone in my team, they did it on their own. I kid you not. Like I could say I was there to, you know, encourage them maybe at times, but ultimately the ones that made it are the ones that did it on their own. I could take no credit for any of that. They're the ones that made it happen. All right, so take responsibility for the good and the bad, right? Take responsibility for everything. All right, here's the next thing, enabling. This is a big word, and this is like the word that I'm really, really getting close to. It happened at the end of last year, and I'm carrying it into 2017. I really, really want this word to be close to me because I feel like I'm an enabler at times, okay? And what I mean by that is I'm helping people, or I'm assisting or supporting or bailing someone out in order that they may avoid some natural and perhaps unpleasant consequence of their actions. How many of you guys have ever done that? I know people who are master enablers, masters. Like they are like mother hen over their associates like this. Like their associates have not seen any type of adversity because they won't allow it. I know some people, some leaders in this room actually, that they don't even, their associates don't even know how to book their own hotel room for convention. Who's responsible for that at times? Let's be honest. Right? I'm serious. Like, they don't even know what it's like. Like, some people, like, they're changing the auto order for their associates. Like, their associates are like, how do I change my auto order? And my upline does it. And I'm just like, seriously? Like, that's crazy. Or even worse, I'm going to go something more close to home. I have people that they've been in USANA for 6 months, and they're still having their uplines do their health and freedoms for them. How crazy is that? Do you want to know how long my upline did my health and freedoms for me? 6 weeks. On the 7th week, I was like 18 years old in this business. He's like, all right, go out. You're on your own now. I have not had somebody do a health and freedom for me since. So if you have somebody, it got really quiet in here. Did you notice? It's like your parents are yelling at you. They're scolding you. No, it's true. I know some uplines are like, tell them, Mike, tell them, right? And I'm like, yeah, because you know what? Sometimes they don't want to tell you because, you're friends, right? And I think that's what makes it hard is that they're your buddies, they're your homies, or whatever you want to call them. And now you're telling them like, hey, bro, do it on your own. And they're like, what? You said you were going to help me. It's like, I am helping you by not doing it for you. And it's hard to explain that to your team sometimes. So you know what? I'll be the one that everybody hates today, okay? I'm the you know what, all right? I'll be that person because somebody's got to say it. And I'm only saying this to you because I feel like it's going to be the difference maker to see that this room grows 2 or 3 times its size next year. It's going to be because people stepped up. That's the only way, when you have people stepping up in your business. So enabling people, do not enable them, okay? This is what ends up happening. When you enable a human being, especially when we're talking about network marketing here, right? When you're enabling a network marketer, okay, don't cheat them, right? Don't cheat people of their power, don't cheat people of their growth. Empower them to solve their problems and generate ideas and watch them grow. That's a great quote. That's not my quote, okay? But you guys can see, right? Stephen Covey said that. And that is so true. I'll give you guys a quick example. I live in downtown Los Angeles. And what I do in downtown Los Angeles is, I always like to help people, right? How many of you guys have ever seen a homeless person? And then you're like, you give them something, right? Like they're like, can you help me please? And you're like, here you go, man. Or they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't eaten all day. And you're like, oh, here's some money, go for it. And eventually you kind of get smart, right? And you're like, I keep giving them money, but how do I know they're going to go out there and spend it on food? What if they go out there and do something silly with it? Now, I know what people say. Oh, that's not up to you to decide. You let God deal with that, and then, okay, I hear you. But at the same time, though, if I know they're going to go out there and buy something bad with it, how could I continue doing that? Because I'm just feeding their addiction. I'm creating the problem. So what I started doing was what? I started giving them food only. I'd carry gift cards with me, right? Starbucks gift cards, Subway gift cards, things like that. So when they asked me for money, I'd be like, here's a gift card. And they're like, oh, all right. And they started taking it, okay? And then I noticed that I thought, wait a minute, what if they're using these gift cards and slanging them? Like, what if they're... So I started doing this. I'm like, I'm only going to give food. I'm only going to give food. So I started giving food, and as soon as I see, because in downtown LA, we have about 3,000 homeless people in downtown LA. It's a lot of homeless people in downtown Los Angeles, okay? It's a small, anyways, you got to go check it out. So the truth is that I'd start giving food only. And as I gave them food, you know what I'd say? I say, here's some food, and you know what they say? What is it? I was like, what is it? What do you mean? I'm like, it's tuna fish. And they're like, oh, I don't like tuna. I had it happen. I was like, what the heck? What is this? So, okay, where am I going with this? I'm not saying don't help people. What I started feeling, though, is that I was enabling people. Even though they were homeless, I felt like I was enabling people, and it was breaking my heart because my intentions were good. My intentions were to help them. My intentions were to feed them and give them shelter and do whatever. I even went as far as to pick one person up with me, and I took him to my house, gave him a bath, literally, and took him to get a haircut. I was like, come on, brother, let's go. Like, I tried my best, and ultimately, they have to step up. Like, they have to want it. Now, I know there's people that have addiction issues. I know there's people that have problems. But the truth is that if they need to step up at some point, and I found a parallel in my business right there. I said, man, I'm trying to do so much for some associates, but unless they step up, or unless I allow them to step up, they're never going to do it. So it breaks my heart to say no. So I'm giving you permission to say no to your associates at times. Now, I'm not giving you permission, like, because I said it, everyone's going to listen. But I'm just saying, like, if you had that question in your mind, like, could I say no sometimes because, I feel like they could do it and they're just not doing it because they know that I'll do it? If that's tearing you up inside, I'm telling you, man, like, give it a shot, okay? And if you're a person that's being enabled by your upline, here's what I suggest. Give them a break. Give them a break, man. Pour into them. I know people in this room personally, man, who pour into their team like, God, you guys don't even know. Like, these are like the unsung heroes of USANA, okay? And they're not the diamonds, and the reason they're not diamonds is because they keep enabling their team, but they're pouring into people, and you know what? No one pours into them. So I always feel this responsibility to go out there and love on these people because I'm like, man, like, somebody's got to pour into you, brother. Someone's got to pour into you, sister. Like, you do so much for people, and no one's giving it back to you, okay? So if you have an upline like that, hopefully after today, you start saying thank you to them, and you start saying like, hey, man, what can I do for you, man? You're always doing stuff for me. What can I do for you? It's a totally different mentality. So I hope that really really changes some perspectives here. So remember this statement, okay? This comes from Mr. Tim Sales. He says, wealth is hidden from those who must do it all themselves. Isn't that crazy? Wealth is hidden from those who must do it all themselves. And then he goes to say, wealth is revealed to those who are patient and willing to train others. So remember that. If you're doing it all yourself, you're not going to be wealthy. You have to make sure you're patient to train others. So how do you step up? Let's talk about BEAR really quick. We'll move through it quickly. Belief, energy, action, results. That's the name of the game. You have to follow this BEAR philosophy. It starts with belief. One of the beliefs that I have is that people need to improve their health. People need to improve their health, that their health is in danger. I always feel that because you never know, right? You can never be too safe about this. It's not something you want to take lightly. So because I feel that people's health is in danger, then I always feel like I need to go out there and speak to people. So that's a belief that I have. I also believe that people's finances are in danger, even for people that are well off. Because the question is, if you stopped working today, how long could you survive? That's the question. I know some people that doesn't apply, you'll be fine. But in most people's cases, if they stop working, the money stops flowing, right? So I want to make sure that we always set people up for the worst case scenario. Next is having energy. I know that once you have a lot of belief, you're going to have energy to talk to people. Like you're going to feel like you don't have to eat, you don't have to sleep. Like you can just go forever in doing this business. So it's something interesting about when you have so much belief in something that you have that energy. We call it juice, right? Join us in creating energy. So definitely start building up that juice. And then all-out massive action. I think all-out massive action is what's going to lead you to success. Some people say, what should I do? I want to be prepared for everything before it happens. How many of you guys can predict the future? So how can you be prepared? See, being prepared is a myth. You'll never be prepared because you don't know what's coming. So the key is to move forward and then figure it as you go because you can never be prepared for what's coming. The only way is to just keep learning and solving as you go. So be a professional problem solver. All-out massive action. Here's a suggestion for you guys, and I'll end on this. Work hard in silence and let the results make the noise. I always see people who are like posting like, I'm grinding, son. I'm working, son. And then they're doing all these memes of like, it's just funny. Like, I see all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but you're living like in your mom's garage still. Come on. And 12 months later, it's the same thing. It's like you're still grinding and grinding. Like, why don't you just go do it and let the results speak? Okay? Let the results speak. Okay? I'm being honest. Because that's when people are going to come to you because you're a person that just gets it done. So my suggestion is work hard in silence and let the results speak. And they will always speak for themselves. So taking action in 2017, let me tell you guys how some of you guys might have looked in 2016. If this is you in 2016, all right, some of you guys are like, there's a prospect, there's a prospect, there's a prospect, there's a prospect. How do I talk to him? How do I talk to him? This is how you want to be in 2017. Get ready for it. This is how you want to be. Bam! Take him down. Thank you guys very much. You guys have a great time, all right?
Love it, baby. That was awesome.